All right. Hello and happy week 10. Happy Monday. Last it's the last week of I guess lectures and stuff. Is this anyone's like last quarter ever at UCLA? Like you graduated but you had to like take one more quarter to wrap things up? No, not you. Okay. All right. That's all right. Well, anyway, so I have still not finished writing the final exam. I know you guys are anxious to know what's going to be on the final, and it's yeah, it's hard writing the exam. It's like no sympathy for me, but it's not fun taking the exam, but it's also like a challenge for me to write a good exam. I don't know. I see it like as a personal challenge to try to write an exam of appropriate difficulty that covers the course. So in my brain, my goal is the median score to be in the 80s. My target would be between 80 and 85 as the median. I feel like if that happens, then the exam was appropriate difficulty. If for some reason I make the exam too easy and the median ends up in the 90s, then that's fine, no problem. It's just all right. Everyone just gets a higher grade. And then, but if I write my exam too hard and the median ends up below 80, generally what I do is I just add points across the board so that the median comes up to 80. So if the median ends up being a 72, I'll just add 8 points to everybody's score. So there might be somebody who gets 100 and then they would go up to 108, and then if somebody gets a 20 and they go up to 28. Okay, so I just basically slide the scores up so that the median reaches 80. That's the plan. That's um, yeah. It's gonna be just Python on the exam. So no Git, no SQL, no what? No shell commands. Just just Python. Okay. Um, and what I will try to do is I'll try to at least come up with a listing of everything. But there's a lot. I like if I come up with a listing of everything, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is too much. But um, but we have covered a lot, so I don't know. Like there's a lot of different structures. Tuples, lists, and dictionaries, and those are all integral to Python, and then all of its structures and stuff like that. So, and then NumPy and Pandas, and I feel like those are all important. So I'm still working on it. I'm probably again still haven't finished writing it. I'm trying to write good multiple choice questions. That's the hard part because handwritten code I think is going to be too hard for me to grade. Like for me, like I don't know how because because like if you write a good answer, I can be like, oh, that's correct. But if you write I don't want to say bad, but like a convoluted answer, right? So sometimes you guys write code that accomplishes the task, but in a circuitous fashion. And and so for me, like trying to and I don't have the advantage of just like, oh, let's run it, right? I have to like stare at your piece of paper with scribbled code. So it's just like it's a little too hard, I think. So so I'm trying to write good multiple choice questions, but it's actually like really hard because it's hard coming up with three wrong answers that aren't like super obviously wrong. So that's the hard part is coming up with wrong answers. Yeah. What? Did you have a question? Or okay, okay. Okay. Anyway, so that's what I'm still working on it. Um, and yeah. Anyway, I don't know. So this week, I'm all the stuff I'm doing this week is just like this is like fun that you can have in Python, and not I'm not going to test you on any of this. And so one thing I thought we would look at is like talking to an LLM, because that's fun, right? And um, so there are okay. So you can go to OpenAI, and then they have some stuff you can just kind of run some of these things and get started. There is um, a kind of more complicated system, all right, and this is called Haystack, and I learned about Haystack at the Python conference, and so this is kind of like they have built this like framework of like Lego bricks that you kind of connect to each other. Maybe Lego bricks isn't the right word, but basically these different blocks that you kind of connect together in what they call pipelines that allow for different interactions with different kind of AI systems and AI tools. And so you can so we're I'm gonna just walk us through the starter tutorial. I'm not doing anything. Okay, it's actually so I'm just going to. So if you just search on online, just look for Haystack. Okay, and then and then I'm just going to the learn section and tutorials and walkthroughs. And so I'm not really bringing anything new um, that isn't already here. It says create your first QA pipeline with retrieval augmentation. It says beginner 10 minutes. It's going to take us the full hour. All right. So I don't know where they get these. I guess 10 minutes if you just copy and paste the code, but we'll kind of talk through this. So here's one thing though. You need a credit card, and you have to create a developer account with some service, whether it's OpenAI or Anthropic or something. You do need to spend like $5. Okay, so that's I think the minimum amount that you have to charge to a credit card to kind of buy credits to use kind of the developer features with OpenAI. So I recognize that presents a hurdle, but if you are interested in this stuff, like that $5, it will go really far. Okay, because it's basically like um, you know, if you're just kind of like typing stuff back and forth, a couple hours will be like of like typing back and forth will be 1 or 2 cents. Okay, it's just it starts the money starts to get charged when you do like automated things where you're like I don't know sending a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, because it charges per token. Token is not exactly a word. Okay, but kind of uh, kind of like a word. Some long words, maybe like 2 tokens or something, and it's like you get 100,000 tokens for like 5 cents type of thing. Okay, so I don't know when was the last time you wrote 100,000 words. So well, I guess it also depends on the on your thing. So let me just kind of we'll work through this. Let me open up the notebook. So I uploaded this notebook to GitHub, but don't run it. Don't open it directly in your. So it's in. where is it? Okay, so if I go to GitHub, I think I put it in its own little folder, Haystack AI. But you might want to not run it directly in here, okay? Because what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna want to set up a virtual environment. Okay, so actually, yeah, let me go back and go to let me just walk you through getting an OpenAI API key, and this will allow you to talk to OpenAI's servers and send requests, right? So, so again, this is where you do need a credit card to do this. But you'll go to platform.openai.com, and then you'll log in or sign up. You probably already have a ChatGPT account, so you can just use the same account there, but you'll be on the platform side now, okay? And under the platform side, you'll click the settings gear and go to API keys, okay? So over here in the top right corner, there's the settings. You'll click that, and over on the left-hand side, there's API keys, okay? So I already have a few keys, but you'll what you'll do is you'll click create a new secret key, and then you know, put in some kind of option, you know, some information. So I'll just call this, you know, test key or whatever. Default project, that's fine. And then service account, yeah, I'm just gonna call this test key. I'm gonna click create secret key, all right? And then it will create this. And then so you'll copy this, copy it to your clipboard, okay? This is the one and only time it will show you the key, okay? Once you click this done, like there's no way to look at the key again, okay? You just have to kind of delete it and stuff. And so this is being recorded and stuff, but I think like the key is much longer, so I'm not too worried about you like trying to steal my key or anything like that. And I'm so anyway, so that you copy that, okay, and then in your Haystack AI folder, okay. So I would create a folder somewhere, okay. You're going to create a new document, new text document, okay, and you'll call the text document .env. Now I already have a .env here, so I'm going to just call it .env underscore, but for you, you will call it .env, right? And then you'll edit it, and inside here, paste the key. So now this is being exposed, but I'm just gonna delete this key, all right? So anyway, here's the key, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna do OpenAI underscore API underscore key is equal to this, okay? So you will copy and paste the key into a text document, and you will save this, okay? And this document has to be titled .env, okay? I already have one, so on mine it's .env underscore, but yours you will call it .env, okay? Anyway, so that's you save that, and that will be your API key, okay? So actually, I'm gonna get rid of this. All right, so anyway. Okay, and then you'll save it, and that will allow you to kind of log in, or at least log in isn't the right word, but that will allow your machine to talk to it. Okay. Oh, okay. So maybe I did this in the wrong order. The other thing you want to do is, I would say, create a virtual environment for you to run your AI stuff. Okay, a virtual environment is basically a separate folder with kind of its own Python sandbox, so that when you load, install packages and stuff like that, if there's conflicts and things like that, it's not going to cascade into your other projects. So, virtual environments are like separate sandboxes where you can have certain things. So, I don't know, maybe I should have had you do this first. Okay. And so for this, you'll open up your terminal. Okay. And you would type in, so I'm not actually going to do this, but you're going to do Python dash M for kind of make a new virtual environment, and then you'll give it a name, okay? So I can call it, Haystack AI something, right? And then once you hit enter, it will create a virtual environment, and then you want to activate it, okay? Haystack AI /scripts/activate, okay? And at least on my Windows machine, it will tell me that I'm now in the Haystack AI environment. I don't know what happens on yours, okay? But you'll click, you type this in to activate that thing, and while you have your virtual environment activated, don't go straight to deactivate, but you'll install all of these packages, okay? So you'll do things like pip install OpenAI, okay? Python dash .env, okay? I've already done these things. So you'll go through, and you'll install each of these things, and this will give your the computer. It will download all of these things from pip, okay? And this will install it in that virtual environment sandbox. So, just if there's conflicts later on. So one thing is, as exciting as all of this AI and LLM stuff is, it is like it evolves and updates rapidly. Okay, so like NumPy is pretty well established, and they do release updates and things like that. But you take like NumPy code from 2 years ago, and it generally works fine, no issues. Okay, any of this like LLM stuff, you take stuff from like 2 months ago, and it like no longer works because they've like done updates and stuff, right? So this stuff will work today, well, I think, because I tested it last night. Okay, but like 2 months from now, it might not work anymore. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay. All right. So anyway, you have this. You run the what do you call it? Your virtual environment here. Okay, and then when you're done, you just click type in deactivate after you do all of your pip stuff. Okay, and then you'll open up. You can open up the notebook in VS Code, right? So once you have all of that, you have your .env inside there, and then you can open it up in VS Code. And then what you'll want to do is, as far as the kernel that you're going to select, you should have the option, okay? So your default kernel is this. And what I want to do is I want to click select another kernel. I'm going to choose a different Python environment. And wait, I don't want. A workspace is required. Okay, yeah, we're gonna. I have to open up. I have to open up the that folder, that workspace for that environment. Okay, And so I do that. This should activate. And now I have a different kernel in virtual here. So this is not my regular environment, but I have now my Haystack AI environment. Okay, and this will have the things there. Okay, so there's a few kind of so again, you want to yeah, I guess open a workspace from your folder. Okay. Wait. Or I guess we'll do open a folder. Okay, and then we want to set set your environment to be the kind of the Haystack AI virtual environment. Okay, so once you have all of that, then you should be able to run through the tutorial. Okay, and if you're having troubles with this, I'm happy to help you out. Yeah, question? It's just, so we're basically playing with, I don't want to say fire, but we're playing with stuff that we don't normally mess around with. And so we're kind of like experimenting around. We're expecting things to kind of break and not work. And so we want to kind of isolate that. Okay. So, yeah, you don't have to. You can just install Haystack AI and stuff directly into kind of your base environment and all of that. But the thing is that the AI stuff and the LLM stuff, like all of its packages update like way like on a much faster kind of timetable than everything else. And a lot of times the new update will cause the old versions to no longer work and things like that. And so, so I like to kind of just separate it out. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to think what an example is. I don't know. Maybe you have a friend who likes to paint the inside of the house like every couple months or something. And you might say like, all right, I don't want you messing with the whole house, right? You get your room and you can just paint over the walls whenever you want. And that's basically what we're trying to do. We're just trying to section it off so that, when things update and stuff, it's not going to break things. And that way also, like, if you have scripts that work right now, you can kind of like almost like make a little time capsule there, right? And so, Haystack AI, OpenAI, they're going to release new models and new versions that, your the scripts that I have in here today, no longer work with the new stuff. But because we created this sandbox where everything is like in this time capsule, it'll continue to still work, right? It's kind of like, going to grandma's house where they have the VHS player and the cassette tapes or whatever. And like it still works, okay? But it's just like if you try to bring any of that stuff to a modern household, like it's not gonna work, right? So you just kind of have this thing locked in. So that's why I like to have the virtual environments. Yeah, and it's generally considered good practice for like separate projects so that things don't break, or one project doesn't break someone else's project. Okay, so anyway, that's that, just to get set up. And then, yeah, we'll work through creating our first QA pipeline with retrieval augmentation. And so basically, what this is we are going to, so this functionality has been added to ChatGPT for a long time now. But, you have ChatGPT and you can ask general questions and it has kind of its store of known knowledge, okay? But then you might have your own, I don't know, company information or personal information or something. And so you might want it to say, you might want to give it a, a big set of rules, right? So you might say like, I don't know, maybe, something that's not kind of public information or something. So you might want to say like, okay, this is UCLA's student code of conduct, or like this is, I'm in this class and this is the professor's syllabus, okay? And you might want to give that to ChatGPT and then say, okay, based on this document that I've given you, please answer these questions, okay? And that's basically what retrieval augmentation is that you are augmenting the chatbot with your own documents, okay? And so, I mean, that's been a feature of ChatGPT for a while. I don't know if you guys remember what ChatGPT was like 2 years ago, but it was a very cool, impressive chatbot, but you couldn't just add new content and information. But it's been around for a while now. But basically, this is like we can do this now, right? And we're gonna basically create a thing that we send queries and it returns it, and it just feels like overkill because the ChatGPT web interface where you just kind of type things, it's like so simple and it just feels nice. But then like if you want to be able to integrate that with some other kind of system or something, then you have to kind of have it speak in Python code. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start putting in these different kind of blocks and pieces, these like kind of Lego blocks, and string them together to kind of build our QA pipeline, okay? Our retrieval augmentation pipeline, okay? So the first thing that we need to do is we have to create a document store, okay? And a document store is basically the place where we are going to store our documents, the professor's syllabus or whatever it is, piece of information that you want ChatGPT to look at, okay? And there are all kinds of different types of document store. We're going to just use the simplest one, and this is called the in-memory document store. This just stores the document in your computer's memory, and this works for things as long as you don't have more documents than what your memory can handle, right? So if you have a giant thing, you probably need to use a different kind of document store, okay? But this is our document store. It's just a place where we are storing the documents that we want to upload, okay? The base, this tutorial, its example says the document we want to import and have ChatGPT learn from is the Wikipedia article on the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Do you guys know what the 7 wonders of the ancient world are? No. The ancient world does not change. Like the 7 wonders, I don't know, natural wonders and modern wonders, those all kind of change. But the ancient wonders, those are like set, okay? It's like the pyramids of Giza and the Colossus of Rhodes and the, Hanging Gardens of Babylon, I don't know. What? Parthenon? Yeah, statue of Zeus? I don't know, something. I don't know if the Parthenon, there's like a board game called 7 Wonders. Anyway, so here we can look at it. Wonders of the world, the 7 ancient wonders. Okay, pyramids of Giza, Colossus Rhodes, Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Lighthouse of Alexandria, Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, Statue of Zeus, and the Temple of Artemis. Okay, so anyway, that's going to be the document that we are going to load in, and so we and it's kind of already set up. It's called load. You just call load dataset. I have another thing where you can upload your own PDFs and stuff. Okay, but we just run this that says load dataset here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run this. Oh, this is just as a courtesy, we can let Haystack AI know that we're running the tutorial, just so that they can keep track of us. They just want to know if you know, um, who's like learning their stuff. Okay, all of this stuff, the first time you load it, it takes like 30-40 seconds because it's, I don't know, starting up the engines to start communicating to these servers. So it takes a little while. Okay. All right. So we're going to create our document memory store. We're going to import the document on the 7 wonders, which has already kind of been prepared for us. Okay. But and so this is going to go into, we're going to take this, and this, we create our docs from here. Okay. So there is a function, not a function, I guess a class. And so I don't know, you recognize the capital D convention for, you know, a class. And so we are creating a class of objects, or called documents. Okay. And then what we have to do is we have to convert the words into basically numbers that go into our giant LLM, which is this big neural network. And, you know, at the base level, it's just multiplying numbers together, and then it outputs. And so somehow, and this is the mystery of like human language, is that like my vocal cords is vibrating the airs, and your ears hear these vibrations, and then the brain says, oh, the vibrations were just right, and now I understand language, right? And that's like magic. But that's how our brains work. And there's something that almost feels magical as well, and this is our document embedder. And it basically is a way to go from words to numbers. And there's different ways, and there's all kinds of different embedders out there. And so that's what we are bringing here. And so this is the Sentence Transformers document embedder. It's looking at sentences. It turns it into, it embeds them, which basically is just a word to say go from words to numbers. Okay. And warm up is just like, let's get that started. Okay. And then so once we have our document embedder kind of initialized, and so again, you can change this, the all mini LM L6v2. That's the name of the document embedder I'm using. But if you go to Haystack AI's website, okay, where is, I don't even know how to search. Okay. Okay, yeah, we have all I don't know. There's I don't know. Okay, well, anyway, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of embedders out there, and then we just take the documents that we have, which are stored in docs, and we run the embedder on it, and we store it. Okay, this converts the docs, which are currently like, so let me just show you what docs is right now. Docs is a bunch of these document classes, okay? But you can see that these are, the content is just these words, okay? You know, and it's like, this is something about the Colossus of Rhodes, okay? And I don't know. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna embed the docs, okay? And so this is gonna form docs with embeddings. And this takes a while because this is not done locally. It's sent off to the service, and come back, I think. All right, and then so we can see what docs with embeddings look like. This now has, okay, the embedding, which is now a vector of size 384. Okay, some kind of vector here, which we don't have over here. So the docs with the embedding now has these numbers. Okay, and then we have stored those documents to our document store. Okay, we did write document to document store. Okay, so that's what we have. Sends transformers text embedder. Okay, so we have the document embedder, all right, and then we also we need a text embedder. Okay, and this is going to allow us to. So we have the document embedder for our retrieval augmentation, and then we have a text embedder which allows us to write text questions, and then they will get embedded, and then converted into vector that we can then send our text question to ChatGPT. Okay, so that's the text embedder, and this just says, all right, we're going to use basically the same transformer, but now this is allowing us not to transform documents, but just plain text. Okay, and then the embedding retriever is another block that we have to use, and this is going to allow ChatGPT to retrieve information from our document store beyond just its native knowledge. Okay. All right. And then, and it's like all of these things, we have to do the prompt builder. Okay. All right. And the prompt builder is another block that just says, okay, if we have a question, okay, so we're going to write a question, and it says, given the following information, answer the question, and the context is just kind of this way of telling it to go through the documents, and this almost has like its own little syntax and language, okay, but for now we're not going to mess around with it. This is just basically, you can kind of, it feels almost like pseudocode, but it's actual code for this document embedding, but it's just like it's going to go through the documents and get all of the knowledge. And this says, given that information, answer this question. Okay, so that's going to be our prompt builder. Okay, all right, and then now we have the different components, and we bring them together, and we can send it off to OpenAI, and with our query, the servers on OpenAI come up with our answer and send it back to us. Okay, and so this does this. It looks for OpenAI key in .environment, which it should be able to find. And if it can't, it'll ask you to kind of just copy and paste it there. As far as the model goes, you have different choices. The cheapest one is GPT-5 Nano, but if you want, better answers, if you want better answers, you can use GPT-5 Mini. You can use the most expensive. Actually, the most expensive is 4.0, I think, but 5.1 is kind of their thing. So yeah, maybe I'll use Mini. Okay. All right, and so this will allow us to talk. Okay, and then so this is the pipeline we're building. Okay, we have the text embedder, the retriever, the prompt builder, and the LLM. So this is basically how we're going to ask our question. And then, these are the different components, and then we connect them together. So the text embedder and the retriever sends, builds our prompt builder and whatnot. Okay, so once we have that, now we can just ask the question. what does Rhodes statue look like? And we send it off to ChatGPT. It takes our question and it takes, okay, there's our response. Okay, short answer, nobody knows the exact appearance, but the Colossus of Rhodes was a bronze statue, blah, 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 blah. All right, so anyway, this is ChatGPT's response based on the article on the 7 wonders of the world. Here's more questions. When did construction for the Rhodes statue begin? And construction began in 292 BC. I guess we can verify against, I don't know. Wait, this is modern wonders of the world. Seven wonders of the ancient world. That's the one we want. Canonical 7 wonders. All right, I don't know. Something. All right. Colossus of Rhodes, 292. Okay. So anyway, that's all there. And these are more questions and things like that. Okay. But if I ask something like this, what's my favorite color? Okay. It's not able to answer this, right? So let me see this. Okay. Cannot be determined from the provided information. The excerpts mention ancient monuments and deities, but contains no reference to anyone named Miles or their preferences. Okay? If you give me more context about Miles or who they are, I can try again. Okay, so that's great and all, but if we want to do it for our own stuff, we have to kind of create our own thing. And so this, I have another thing. Basically, takes all of the same code, but now includes this thing that converts Python PDFs to documents. Okay, and so here I have I created a little PDF. Okay, and it says Miles's favorite color is red. Lucy's my daughter. Her favorite color is green. And then I have a dog. Miles's dog's name is Firu, and he is a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Papillon mix. Okay, so this is the information that's now in my own PDF that we are going to put into the pipe into our retrieval augmentation generator. Right, so I'm going to create this, and then same thing. Okay, in document store, but now I have to convert my PDFs to documents. Okay, so here I can just kind of read that in, and you can see like, okay, it has brought in the content from that PDF. Okay, and then we're going to embed that document into our document store. Well, first we have to create our embedded documents with the vectors. Okay, and then we'll put it into our document store. Okay, we set up the same kind of text embedder, retriever, and the query generator and all of that pipeline. Okay, and so now I can ask the question, what is Miles's favorite color? I don't even have it written correctly, but so now I hope this works. Red. Okay, yay. All right, and then I say, tell me about Firu, which is the name of my dog. Let's see if it gets it right. Okay, Firu is Miles's dog. He is a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel Papillon mix. Okay, I don't know. So there you go. So this is just kind of now a way for you to just start with the very basics of interacting with ChatGPT through Python. Okay, and so this is right now what I've shown you is nothing beyond what you can do with just the regular old ChatGPT web interface, right? Actually, the ChatGPT web interface is like way simpler and easier. You just type your thing, you can upload the documents and all of that, and it works. And this feels like way too much work. Okay, but this is a starting spot. Okay, this is a starting spot. There are tons of things that you can do. Okay, and so you can look at Haystack and their documentation, go through, learn, as far as like some of the things in the cookbook. They have a bunch of just like random little projects that people have created and stuff as like examples. And if you look at just the OpenAI platform, they have things for you to kind of interact directly with their tools. I haven't messed around with it, but apparently they now have things where you can upload images and it will tell you the contents of the image and things like that. And so, um, you know, it could be a fun little project. I don't know. You're really just uh, it's a big kind of sandbox and playground where you can just start kind of messing around. It does seem like there's a lot of excitement and energy behind LLMs and generative AI and all of that. And we don't, here we don't have any kind of like courses or anything that kind of teach this. And I honestly don't know, like, I think for to have like a real course, you want to have some kind of solid foundation. And right now, everything is just so kind of up in the air and evolving so quickly. I don't know if we could have a justified course, but it is a lot of fun, and it's the kind of the playground to kind of just start toying around with. So anyway, this is just a quick demonstration. The hardest part, honestly, is getting like your environment set up. Um, you know, get your put $5 down on your credit card and getting your OpenAI key and getting your environment set up to to start messing around. But anyway, that's that. We can I don't know. We can look at other stuff in Python later this week. All right, that's it. See you guys.